Jacker en FM More Music Love. Lekker donderdag aand. Lekker koud. Hierdie kant van die wêreld. Vanaand ons klim in 'n time machine. Ons trek, ons gaan UK toe. And if you are tuned in right now on our social media pages, you'll see the man himself, the legend himself. He is sitting and he's ready to share his story with you. JP Cooper, welcome to Mack Rapapali Nights.
Thank you for having me.
Are you well?
Good to be here.
I need to ask you, right? So how's the pandemic treating you, man? How are you handling this whole situation?
It's been an interesting one, you know. I think I'm trying to always looking at the positives in things. I'm always searching for the positives. And for me, at this point in my life, to have an opportunity to stop and take stock of where I'm at and where I'm going, and what's important to me has been a blessing, you know. So I'm very, very grateful for the time, because really I feel like, you know, you spend a large portion of the beginning or your young life chasing your dreams. And then after a while you realize that the only thing you're chasing is quality time, you know. And to have that with my family and my loved ones and just to take stock for a little bit has been an amazing thing. So I'm excited to get out of it and to get back into the world with this new focus. But for the time being, you know, we're making the most of it. So it comes with its challenges, but we're doing all right.
Now you've got a very interesting story to share, and I guess, you know, to experience your shoes, one has to listen to your music, which I've been doing, like literally. Now, a self-taught artist, also not coming from a very, you know, musical home, you were more passionate about sport, you know, growing up, and then later that passion shifted into music. How did you discover that? How did you just wake up one day and realize that, you know what, I'm going to put sport aside and I'm going to follow this passion, which is called music?
So I think Manchester has a lot to do with it. You know, being a teenager in Manchester in the, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. I left high school in 2000, you know, so coming of age around that time, you know, bands in Manchester were all over the world. You know, so I was lucky enough to discover a love for music through just being there in that place at that time, and having friends who picked up guitars and started, you know, covering Oasis songs and things like that, to trying to write my own songs and write my own lyrics and my own little bits of poetry and stuff. I was lucky that there was a little spark there, you know. That was the catalyst, I guess. So from there, it was just a case of pursuing something that I thought I had a little something special with. And at the time, looking back at, you know, the work I was producing, I didn't really, you know, I wouldn't really say that there was anything that was like, wow, this is something amazing. But a little encouragement goes a long way. And I think, you know, there was a few people who were a little older than me who told me that I had something special, and I believed it. And as a result of that, I pursued it. And, you know, gratefully, it's got me to where I am today, which is, you know, I'm happy, you know. So there's a fulfillment there, which I think is far greater than any success.
Now, I was actually surfing through a couple of your interviews, and I realized, you know, and it actually took me back, you know, from personal experience. Now, the industry, right, or your followers, your fans, the music lovers, they intend to lock one, you know, in a certain box, right, based on the music that you do and the music that you produce. But you chose to be different and not be seen as just, you know, a singer or songwriter. Why is that?
Do you know what? I think I wanted to embrace as many different opportunities, as many different kind of genres of music as well, in a way that I just wanted to learn more about them. And I think, you know, I've been lucky that the style that I'm kind of rooted in can lend itself to a lot of different styles, you know. So to keep things interesting, you know, it was a nice thing to go and play in different ways with different people and just keep learning, really. And that's, you know, the journey that I guess I've been on. Particularly, I've pressed into it a lot more since, you know, it becoming like a career for me. It's been definitely a way to keep things fresh, to keep learning, to keep communicating with different people. Um, so, you know, I'm grateful that I've been embraced by so many different musical communities. And yeah, it's been a rich experience.
Before the peak of your career, I mean, you surely had to face a few challenges to get to where you are today. When you look
Mm.
back, which challenge, that one challenge, humbles you and reminds you that if you never took that risk, you wouldn't be sitting here today?
Um, do you know what? It seems silly,
Yeah.
but it was probably the Jonas Blue thing.
Mm.
You know, because there was a huge part of me that didn't want to do that record. And because there was ego involved. There was
Yeah.
this it was a big learning experience for me. There was this ego that was, I'm a rootsy kind of artist who I
Yeah.
play with guitars and real music and all of that kind of stuff. And I just felt like dance music was, you know, just this a world that I didn't understand. And I thought I
Mm.
was there was ego and there was fear. There was fear that the people who I wanted to look at me in a certain way might not see me in that way anymore. And I had to have some real internal conversation with myself, you know, when making that decision. And through that, it was a very steep learning curve, but a really amazing learning experience. And it completely opened up my eyes to, you know, the power of just being willing
Yeah.
to give things a try. And and as a result of that, I was humbled by the fact that it changed my life, you know, and I still am every day. I think what we're 4 years in now from that song, and you know,
It's
a
still
lot of things
booming.
have changed since then. Yeah, it's
The song
crazy.
is still
I mean, I'm
big.
humbled by the numbers. I can't really get my head around those numbers, and even though I don't fully identify with that sound,
Yeah.
I'm fully grateful to have been allowed a moment in that world. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Now, later on in your life, your career started taking off. And, there was a time where you had to make a very, very difficult decision. And as a father, I can imagine, how overwhelming it was for you, because I can relate to your
Mm,
story. Leaving your
mm.
son behind, chasing a dream. I mean, how difficult was it to make that decision?
It was a tough one because, you know, my up until that point, I'd seen my son every single day,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it was, I'm going to need to go away for 3 or 4 days of the week. So it was manageable, and I was still seeing him regularly.
Hmm.
But as like a first-time father who I grew up with my dad there all the time, you know, he was like, he is my hero. You know, my old man was there through thick and thin, and there was something in me that just didn't feel right
Yeah.
about not being with him all the time, not being able to give him a kiss before bed every night, not being able to check he's okay in the morning. Um, but it was temporary, you know. It was, you know, he's with me now. He's downstairs, and um, I think there was an understanding that if I don't realize um, these opportunities, if I don't see them through, I don't think I'll ever be fully fulfilled and fully happy, and there'll always be that what if. And I'm sure, you know, now I'm trying to think, if my dad was in that situation and I was looking back, what would I, as an adult, say to him? And I'd say, just go for it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and now, you know, my son's, you know, he's super proud of, you know, the things that I've achieved, and, you know, he's in a comfortable situation. And it's a beautiful thing for me to be able to go from where I was then, which was, you know, we were struggling, I was struggling, his mom was struggling, to now be in a place where, you know, we're comfortable, we're good. And, you know, I'm grateful that I fought for it.
Yeah. Now, on a lighter note, before I let you go, now the music
Mm.
started kicking in. We started, consuming all of your EPs, consuming some of the
Uh-huh.
amazing footage. The content you share on YouTube is on another level. Let me just be honest
Bless
with
you.
you,
Thank you.
literally. Now, what more is on the table that you'll be sharing with us? And any plans to come down to South Africa? Because, man, we'd love to see you. We would love to see you live. honestly.
I would love to come. I'm really hoping that, you know, the doors open, the opportunities happen in the near future, you know, with this next album. So obviously we're releasing this little EP now, which I'd
Yeah.
like to look as a precursor to the album. The full album is coming soon. To be honest with you, we'd written too many songs for the album, and I wanted to put out as much of them as possible. So we thought we'd give these songs from the EP. And I'm hoping, you know, that this album, I'll be able to get around to some new places, meet some new people. But there's been a lot of love from South Africa, and I
Mm.
do hugely appreciate it, you know. So we need to try and get down there and share some of that love, and yeah, make it real. Get there and see you guys. But I'm, you know, I'm so excited about the album. Um, and now, you know, the thought of being able to jump in a bus or on a plane with a bunch of my closest friends and come out and play music feels like the strangest thing right now since being in
Yeah.
lockdown. You know,
Yeah.
I think I've seen one or two of them. So the whole idea of it is crazy and super exciting. And I really, really hope that we can get out there to see you guys soon.
Man, thanks a lot for making time and sharing your inspirational story. We are looking forward to more music.
Uh,
In fact, while you're at it, let me know. We play Sing It With Me like nobody's business. We're the only station in South Africa that's bumping that song. So I'm just letting you know
amazing.
right now.
Thank you.
We do appreciate
I
your music,
appreciate
man.
that.
And we appreciate
Bless
you.
you, man. Thank you.
All good.
Thank
Respect,
you.
man. Go well.
Likewise.
Mm.
Take care.
Wow. Peace.
Perfect.